So what can serve as our escort and guide? One thing and one alone: philosophy. In this video, I will dive into the lessons from Book 2 of Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. Just like all the other books of meditations, there are many lessons around various themes, but for Book 2, I would like to focus on the following topic: the value of time. The value of time is a recurring theme throughout meditations, but Marcus Aurelius addresses this topic quite a bit in Book 2, and a close examination of his thoughts here will really set the reader up for a greater understanding of lessons on time that are mentioned in the later books. Concentrate every minute like a Roman, like a man, on doing what's in front of you with precise and genuine seriousness, tenderly, willingly, with justice, and on freeing yourself from all other distractions. Here, Marcus Aurelius touches on the topic of unrelenting focus and intention in your actions, free from distractions, reminiscent of Maximus's lesson that I covered in the previous video. Marcus Aurelius then continues to explain that one can achieve this distraction-free mind if they approach their action to be their last one. So he is taking the finite nature of time and utilizing it as a tool to help us live a meaningful, focused life. You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. This line is in a similar vein as the previous one I shared. By framing your actions and words as possibly your last, it makes you think twice about how to go about the day. Now, this suggestion is not meant to be taken literally. For some of us, if we were to proceed with our day as if it were the last, it may result in us getting fired from our job, dropping out of school, or harming others, among other possible negative consequences. Instead, it should be used as a mental exercise to determine our long-term future. If today was your last day, would you be happy that you showed up to work? If not, you shouldn't necessarily quit your job tomorrow, but perhaps you should strive to find more meaning in your job, or even consider working towards finding a different job for yourself in the future. If today was your last day on earth, would you be happy with how you spent your time? If not, don't get worked up on how unsatisfying your day went, but instead, think about what habits and activities can make your days more fulfilling in the near future. Remember how long you've been putting this off, how many extensions the gods gave you, and you didn't use them. At some point, you have to recognize what world it is that you belong to, what power rules it, and from what source you spring. That there is a limit to the time assigned you, and if you don't use it to free yourself, it will be gone and will never return. Here, Marcus Aurelius is once again meditating on the finite nature of time, while low-key guilt-tripping the reader for procrastinating. Now, we are all guilty for procrastinating, and Marcus Aurelius is no exception, as he was writing all of these ideas for himself. So let's not get bogged down with his opening line here, but let's dissect the other parts to reframe the concept of time. While delivering his criticism, Marcus Aurelius says, "How many extensions the gods gave you." So from this, we can see that he saw time as a gift that was offered to us by the gods. You don't have to be particularly religious to appreciate this view. You could also see the idea as time being a gift from the universe, from nature, or whatever higher being you feel close to. Oftentimes, we may take time for granted, but thinking of it as a gift may influence the way we decide to spend it. Let's also take a moment to look at the last part of this quote. If you don't use it to free yourself, it will be gone and will never return. I want to bring your attention to the idea of freeing yourself. In a different edition, This part is translated as, unless you make use of it to clear the fog from your mind, the moment will be gone. While another edition translated it as, use it then to advance your enlightenment, or it will be gone. So by looking at different translations, it seems to be that Marcus Aurelius is encouraging us to use our time to mentally liberate ourselves, rather than just applying yourself to pure physical productivity. Sure, cleaning your room or participating in physical exercise are considered good use of time by many people. But Marcus Aurelius is inspiring us to dig deeper. Is there some fear inside you that is holding you back from taking meaningful action? Is there an unresolved trauma that is preventing you from becoming the best version of yourself? This concept of mentally liberating yourself will be different from individual to individual. For the life of every one of us lasts but a moment, and yours is almost done, and yet you have no respect for yourself and allow your happiness to depend on what passes in the souls of other people. Once again, Marcus Aurelius is subtly shaming us for not spending time wisely, but let's not focus too much on the negative aspect and look at the positive here. Marcus Aurelius is telling us that utilizing your gift of time to help yourself is not a chore. It's not supposed to be a burden in any way. It's simply a form of self-respect. And why wouldn't you have self-respect? Why would you let others' opinions determine your happiness, which ultimately determines how you go about your day in life? You cannot lose another life than the one you're living now, or live another one than one you're losing. The longest amounts to be the same as the shortest. The life that was given to you is the only one you have, so make the most out of it. That's what Marcus Aurelius is urging us to do. Later in this section, Marcus Aurelius extensively talks about the present moment. Once the present becomes past, it's gone forever. The present moment is the only thing that we can lose, and it's all we have, just like the one life we have. He states that both old and young ones, when they die, their losses are equal. They both lose the present. This is a very important thought to observe. Maybe you're not so young anymore. Perhaps you are in your 40s, 50s, 60s or above. And maybe you feel that you have not lived your best life, or even wasted some of your years. Or maybe you're young, in your 20s and 30s, but feel like you've wasted some of the best years of your recent past. Do not dwell on that. We must look at the present moment in front of us, since that is all we have. And if we can live our present to the fullest, the past will simply be the past. So how does one make the most out of their present moment? Well, since I started this video at the end of book 2, I'd like to take us back to the very beginning. When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. They are like this because they can't tell good from evil. There are numerous ways to optimize your day and enjoy the present moment, but perhaps this quote from Marcus Aurelius is a great place to start. Marcus Aurelius essentially tells us that we should expect to encounter unpleasant people on a regular basis, so that when we do actually encounter unpleasantness, we are not fazed by it. If we are not fazed by trivial amounts of unpleasant circumstances, then we do not allow outside forces to take over our present moment later in the day. We will all be able to cherish the life we have in the present moment given to us. So, how will you spend your time? Thank you for watching.